Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be showing you guys something that's really cool. If you're familiar with particles in Blender, you can add a collision to an object and then particles will automatically collide. But I'm going to be teaching you how to make this from scratch. So essentially we're going to be making our own particle system from scratch in Geometry Nodes, and I'm going to show you how to make the particles stop when they hit an object. In this case, it's just a simple plane. I'm also going to be showing you how we can use some sine waves to make this this where it kind of gets shot from to move around dynamically, which is really cool. And there might be something cool you could use this for in some motion graphics project, but I don't want to say too much more. I just want to jump into the sort of intermediate to advanced tutorial here, showing you guys how to do this. It's a ton of fun, and even if you're kind of new to Geometry Nodes, try and follow along. You might learn more than you think, and it might make more sense than you think. I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can, but it is definitely more of an intermediate to advanced tutorial. So let's jump in, and I hope you guys enjoy. So jumping into a new scene in Blender, go ahead and select the default cube, and you can go over to the Geometry Node setup. This is what you're going to see. I have my own custom viewport, just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see what I'm doing when you're watching the tutorial. But it's the same thing. What you're going to do, you're going to select the cube, and you're going to make sure to click New to create a node network. So what we want here, we want to be working with a point. So we'll go Shift A, we'll go to search and type in a point and just get a single point like so. And let's just plug that into the geometry input for now, like that. So we have a point here, and that's what we're going to make hit for now. Later on, we can kind of make more points, but we're just going to start with one to keep it simple. So then what we want to do, we want to actually use a simulation zone. We're going to go Shift A, search, and get a simulation. So type in simulation, get a simulation zone, and let's just maybe take the points here, plug it into the geometry input, and the output into the geometry output here. So now we have a simulation zone, right? So let's create ourselves a little bit more space in the middle here. And we're going to do some very simple things. We could just delete the group input or just move it over. Don't need it for now. But what we want to do is we want this point to move, and let's just say we want to move in the X direction. So what we could do, we can go Shift A, search, and get a set position, place it over here. And then you could go and maybe type in 0.01 on the X offset, and then this will just kind of move along on the X like this. But the problem with this is that wherever we're making something to move in sort of like a physics sense, like with velocity, or maybe even we want to add acceleration, this is going to be very limited. So sort of when we're making like a simulation. So what we want to do instead for now, we'll use this set position later, but for now we're just going to press M just to mute it. And what we're going to do instead is we're going to go Shift A, search, and we're going to go store. Let's get a store named attribute. Let's place it here in front of the simulation input. And let's just come here and type in velocity. That's going to be the name of our attribute. And what we want to capture is actually a vector. So change it from float to vector. And we're using a point here, right? We're not using an edge or a face. We want to leave it as point. So we've now created this stored named attribute, and the attribute here is the velocity. But the problem is we have done nothing with this value. We haven't told it what to do. So we want to give it a value of 0.01 along the X over here, right? And now we actually have some data to use there. So if we come here to our set position, and we press M to unmute it, we can now actually come here to the offset and drag on it. And let's type in named, just get a named attribute, and then make sure it's vector. Click over here and get the point velocity, or just type in velocity, right? That is the attribute we created over here. So now what we can do over here is we can come to make sure you're in frame 1, hit the space bar, and it's now using that velocity. We could also come here now to our store named attribute. We can maybe make it 0.04. Maybe make it a little bit faster, but you can see here, this is now moving, right? Now we have some movement. So before we actually make it collide, we want to add something in here for it to collide with. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go Shift A. I'm going to go to the mesh options, just add in a plane, and I'm just going to go and move the plane over. I'm going to go RY90 and hit enter. So now we have this plane here, and you can see here, at a certain point, it makes contact, but it just goes straight through. So what we need to do, we need to grab this point, and we need to now come in here between the first node here and the set position. And inside of here, we're going to use another store named attribute, and we're going to plug a switch into that. And I'll explain how that works in a second. So let's go Shift A, let's go search, and let's type in store. Let's get a stored named attribute, place it on here. We want to make sure it's a vector, since that's what we're working with. We need to leave it as point, and we'll use that same velocity. So click on here and get that velocity attribute we created. But we want to be able to use the data from this plane that we've added in, or whatever object you're using. So you can come up here to your scene collection and click on, in this case, I'm going to click on a plane. And I'm just going to drag it into the geometry nodes here. I'm going to set it to relative. And now we have the object info for that geometry. So what we can do is we can come here and we can go Shift A, search, and get the Raycast. Okay, get the geometry sample Raycast. And the target geometry is going to be this information here, which is the plane. So we're going to plug it into the target here. We want to know what the ray direction is. And in this case, it's quite simple because we could just use the velocity, which is already here, right? The velocity is heading in the, making it go in the X direction, which is the sort of direction we want here. So what we'll just do is we'll come here to the ray direction, just drag on it and type in named, just get the named attribute and leave it as vector. And let's get that velocity. So that's kind of a simple way of dealing with that. Another thing here is the ray length. We'll get to that in a little bit. But what we can do is we can actually set how close we want it to be to this object before it stops. Or a simple way, if you want it to be a little bit more dynamic, is you can just go Shift A, search, and get a length. There we go, vector math length. Plug it into here and then plug this one into here. And then it'll just sort of essentially base it on how long it moves along here on the X direction. So it'll hit exactly where it needs to be. And it doesn't matter where we move this, we don't have to update this number here unless you want to update that and give it your own custom value. So for example, you want to stop a meter in front or whatever. But for now, we're just going to leave it at that. That's just a simple way to kind of get around that. And then what we want to do is we want to use a switch. And this is a lot simpler than you think here. And I'll explain how this works in a second. So essentially, we're going to go Shift A, search, and get a switch, utility switch. And we want to make sure with the switch here that we're working with a vector. And we're going to take the is hit. So if something is hit, then that's going to be our switch. And either if it's hit, which is going to be false. So if it's not hit, something's going to happen. And if that statement is true, if it is hit, then something's going to happen here, right? So if it is hit, right, if this particle does hit our plane, we want the vectors here to be 0 because we don't want it to be moving on any of the axes. We just want to come to a stop. So for here, we'll just leave this as 0 over here. But over here, right, we want it to keep moving if it's false. So if there hasn't been a hit, if the is hit here is false, so there hasn't been a hit with the object, we want this to still be moving. Now what you could do is you could just come here and type in the speed that you want to do, or to make this work a little bit better and be more dynamic, you could just grab one of these named attributes and just use the velocity that we already have and plug that into the false switch. So essentially what's happening now is we can take this switch, we can plug it into this new store named attribute, and it can update how this velocity works. So if we plug it into the value, essentially what's happening here is it's saying, this is our store named attribute. So this is what's happening. This is moving along at 0.04 meters, I think, per frame as it's updating. And it's running that and it's moving our point along here. But what happens is we're evaluating that attribute again. And this is saying as long as, when it comes to the plane here, as long as that is not hit, right, it's going to keep moving with this velocity. That's what's going into the false. There is no hit yet. But if it turns out that that is a true statement, if it is hit, right, then it's going to make all of these values here 0. So it's no longer going to be doing this up here, which is the 0.04 value over here, but it's actually going to switch over to 0 and there's no more movement of our point. Okay, so I know that's sounds a little bit complicated. It really isn't that complicated. Just it's hard to kind of explain it in a simpler way, but that's kind of what's happening here. That's how this switch works. So that's the logic behind it. So if we now hit the space bar and starting at frame 1, this should, as soon as it makes contact, stop. And that's exactly what's happened here. So now we have made that point stop there. Cool. So that's essentially the main part of the tutorial, but we can make something cool out of this. So let's have more of these points shooting out. So what we'll do is we'll actually come here to the points, and we'll take this value for the store named attribute, and let's drag on it and type in random. We're going to make sure it's vector. And then we're going to drag here on the min, and let's type an integer. Get an integer, and we'll make this integer here -2. We'll also duplicate this over here, plug it into the max here. And this way we don't have to do it to each individual vector. It just kind of goes into all of them at the same time. And this one here will make +2, right? And then what we can do is we can keep updating the seed, and that's going to randomize it. And we'll actually update that seed value by simply dragging on here and typing in scene time. And we're going to go with frame. So every time it updates, every frame, it's going to essentially allow this to be the seed to be randomized. And it's going to change this value here. It's going to randomize it, which means if I come back to frame 1, I hit the space bar. Let me see, what have I done wrong here? Let me just have a think about it. Oh, okay, so we just need to do this a little bit differently here. We just want to come Shift A, search, and get a join geometry, place it on here. And then let's just connect the store named attribute into here. Get it back to frame 1. And now that's kind of working, as you can see here. Okay, I've gone back to frame 1, hit the space bar, but you can see it's kind of going crazy and these particles are just sort of shooting everywhere. So what we need to do is we need to refine this randomness a little bit. We need to limit it. So we're going to go Shift A, search, and get a scale. Put the scale on here. Let's make this value 0.01. And then let's just go Shift D to duplicate the scale, place it on here. Let's change it from scale to add. And then we just want to add a, because we don't want it to be 0 along the X, right? We don't want to be adding to 0. So let's just add to 0.1 in this instance. And make sure that the scale here is a smaller value than the add. So I'm going to just drop those two down, bring them closer here, kind of put them to the side. And now let's go back to frame 1, hit the space bar. And now you can see we have a nice spray of particles like so. And that's looking okay, but let's maybe make it move up and down. So a simple way we could do that is we can come over here, we can go Shift A, search, and get a transform, and get a transform geometry, place it on here. And let's maybe go Shift A, search, and get a scene time. Over here, let's take the seconds and plug it in to the translation. And let's go Shift A, search, and get a combine XYZ. And for now, I'm going to plug this into the X because I want it to, or maybe let's go up and down on the Z. We want to go up and down on the Z here, right? So what will happen now, if we just go to frame 1, hit the spacebar, this will just keep moving up every time the frame updates, right? But what I can do is I can limit it by going Shift A, search, and getting a sign, getting a math sign over here, putting it at the front, and then it'll oscillate. So if I go back to frame 1, I hit the spacebar, it's going to oscillate up and down on the Z like that, and that gives us this result here, which looks really nice. The cool thing is now we can Shift D to duplicate that sign, plug the seconds into here, and we can do it on the other axis as well. So for example, I can take it into the Y, and let's see what happens here. Now we're getting a little bit of sort of rotation here as it's signing back and forth, which is really cool. So now we have sort of like this sort of spray effect. So now instead of having these particles, we can swap them out with something. So let's just go here to the end. Let's go Shift A, search, and get a instances on points, place it on here. Let's take the instances here and make it sphere. And we'll get an icosphere, bump it up in the subdivisions. And then we're gonna go Shift A, search, and get a shade, set shade smooth, place it on here. And let's just also take the radius of these icospheres way down. We could probably even come here to the scale and type in random and just randomize them and change it from vector to float. Make sure it's plugged in there. And now you can see we have sort of like these random sizes of spheres here, which kind of looks cool as well. So now we have this sort of effect. And now you can see we're really spraying those particles. I'm also just going to grab this plane and scale it up bigger. There we go. And what we could do, we can also with our particles, we can just select them, Shift A, search, and get a set material, place it on here. If we go over here, let's just make sure we have a material under the materials tab, which we do. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And we can go over to our shading workspace and let's go Shift A, search, and get an object info. And let's actually use that location. I'm going to plug that into the base color. And you can see we have this color happening here, but we can go Shift A, search, and type in U and get a U in saturation, place it on here. Let's bump the saturation way up, like so. So now if we go back to our geometry nodes, I'm gonna go Z, I'm gonna go material preview. You can see this is what we have. We now have these multicolored particles that sort of update in the colors depending on where they are with the location, and they're hitting this thing over here. So this can be handy for all sorts of kind of, you know, like cool art projects or effects that you're trying to do. So yeah, give it a shot. Try and make something artistic out of this, and thank you for watching.